Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss easiest way of showing the loading screen or process of loading. So normally what we do is if we are calling an API or something like that, suppose we are waiting for the data. So what we will do is that we will show the circular progress indicator and or just like show it everywhere in the place. Today I'm going to tell you a new way of showing the progress indicator, and believe me, this is the easiest way. So first of all, I'm using get for the sake of this tutorial. You can use any state management tool that you like. So first of all, I'll have to shift it to get material app, and then what I'll do is that I'll make a controller. So I'll just say it loading controller. And I'll just say loading screen. Okay, so I've created these two files. Now, what these file will do? So what I'll do is that in the controller, I'll just write the code. So class loading controller, and this should extend get x controller. You won't have to do it always. This is just for the sake of the tutorial. And I'll set a variable over here. Let's call it is loading, right? Now, what we want to do is that we want to set up the write the functions to basically check that if the set loading is true or not, or I'll just write it simply as set load function. So what will it do is that it will set the value of is loading. So I'll just say status, and in here the function as sorry is it's not is loading is equals to status, right? And then I'll just call the update. Okay, so this will change the value of the set load, right? Sorry, the is loading variable. Now what we want to do is that I'll create a loading screen. So the loading screen will contain the data, like basically the UI that I want to show when my app is in the process of loading. So I'll just make a stateless widget, and sorry, STL stateless widget, and call it loading, sorry, loading screen. Okay, so this is done. Now what I want to do is I'll just simply give scaffold, and in the body I'll use get builder, and the builder will call to the loading controller that I just created. Uh, controller, sorry, I have to give it to init the builder, and then I'll have another parameter, and it will be called builder. It will give me a controller, and here I can give my widget that I want to show. So what I'll do is I'll take the controller and check the is loading variable. If it's true, then what I want to do is I want to give a center, and in the center I'll give a circular progress indicator, right? And if not, then what I want is I'll give a child widget. So what is the child widget exactly? So the child widget will be, sorry, to give another bracket, and then I'll give the child widget. Okay, so what is the child widget here? This will be a parameter that I'll take. So widget child. Now I'll just take this as a parameter, and I want it to be a okay. So this is done, but what actually I want to do, right? You might get this question. So I'll just make a class over here, loading builder, and in here I'll have a transition builder. So just call it transition builder, and it will give me transition builder, and sorry, this will be a builder, and then sorry, I have to actually connect. And then what I want to do is that in here I have to, sorry, not here, actually in here I want to return, and in the return what I want is I'll have the context and the child, sorry, and okay, let me just pass the actual values it will have. So it will be build context, and this will be a widget child, and this will give me if builder. Okay, so I'm missing, I have this, then I have this, and then I'll have to return the okay, and then what I'll do is if builder does not equals to null, then what I want to do is return builder and context, and the next is loading screen that I just created, and give the child to it, and if not, return, or I'll just say health return, and in here I'll just return the loading screen with this. Okay, so let me just figure out the actual issue in here. So this is okay. Value type is different, then returned type of connect transition builder. Okay, so transition builder, and then I'll call the builder. So in this child can be null, and then I'll just check off it. Okay, so this is done, but you will ask me how will I actually show the transition builder. So in here what I'll do is builder and loading builder dot init. Okay, so I've linked my loading screen to this. Now what I want to do is I need to set the loading on the loading screen. So in my main screen, what I'll do is I'll create a variable var controller. This will be get dot put, and in here I'll just give loading controller. So I'm just giving a basic scenario. You can use it for custom places and show the loading screen on in there. So I'll create two buttons over here, elevated button, and the text will be text show loading. So this can be a constant, and this will be stop loading. So there's these are the two buttons. So using the controller.setLoad function, I can set the status to true, and then this I can set the status to false, right? So I have these two buttons. I'll just keep them in the center, the axis alignment of center, and the cross axis alignment also to center. Okay, so if I show, you can see that I'm seeing the loading button. So now the problem is that the image is not showing, like the buttons that were previously showing up, they are not showing now. So what we have to do, so to do this, actually what I want to do is that I need to actually show the widget, basically my screen, in this loading screen as well. So in here what I'm doing is controller.isLoading, and if it's true, I'm just showing the center, sorry, the circular progress indicator in the center. But what I actually want to do is that I want to use a stack. So I just use a column and then change it to stack. So what I want to do is I'll show my child widget in the back, and then I'm showing the screen. So one more thing you can do is that instead of directly showing it, what we can do is we can wrap it up in some container and give it some color, so we actually know that our screen is visible. You can do that, but I actually am not here doing that over here because I want to show the buttons. So if I press show loading, the circular progress indicator starts working, and if I click on stop, the loading stops. So this is the most easiest way you can actually show loading in the app. So if I have another screen, let's suppose main screen, this is the main screen, and I create a main screen too, and like if there are multiple screens, so what I'll be doing is that when I'm having an API call, so before the API call starts, I'll just use the loading controller.setLoad to true, and when I get a response from the API, I'll just set it to loading controller.setLoad false. So this is the easiest way of showing the loading on your app, and this is the like for the whole app. So if I want to, like, suppose if you're using this controller widget and using this method to call for like hundreds of APIs, and you're not using the old way of showing the circular progress indicator for each and every screen. So what you want to do is, if you want to just show something different, so suppose I want to show linear progress indicator, I'm just showing the linear progress indicator, and this can work for every screen. So that's all for now. Thank you.